I really didn't want to be doing this video simply because, part of me thought that this day would never come. But this is it. The end of Potaku. Now, the first thing you may be wondering is why. And I can assure you, I was as surprised as you are that it ultimately came to this decision. But, so we fill you guys in on the brief rundown. One day I got a message from Tristan, and he said that he thought that it was time for the podcast to die and for the group to disband. And it definitely took me by surprise. And while I won't go into his exact reasoning, as I'm sure he will have the chance to do so in his own video, I disagreed. And I goddamn tried my hardest to get him to change his mind on that decision. But ultimately, I couldn't convince him otherwise, as hard as I tried. So, even though we had a disagreement on whether it was the right time for the podcast to end or not, and even though everyone in the group had a different opinion as well, we all agreed that we should respect his decision as one of the founding members, that it was time to let the podcast go. So yeah, despite everything, I couldn't stop it from ending. So here we are now. I just want to say a thank you to everyone who's ever been involved with this podcast, whether they are an active member or not anymore. And definitely to you guys, the fans. I mean, you guys are the best fans who we could have ever hoped for. And the support you have given us throughout the years is what has been driving us to stick together and to keep doing what we're doing. And this little group or podcast or whatever it's become now has become such a huge part of my life for these past few years that I can't even begin to put into words how important it was for me. I mean, I've met the best friends for life doing this podcast, whether it be through meeting some of the other members in this group, to meeting some of the fans at conventions or whatever who I stayed in contact with, who are now some of my best friends. I mean, you guys know who you are. This little podcast has given me so much, and it's honestly one of the proudest things I've ever done. So to let it go is really painful, whether I was ready for it or not. It was always going to be hard. I'm sure this isn't going to be the last time I'll be working with the members of this podcast. I'm sure that I'll stay in contact with each and every one of you guys, because you guys are the friends that I made on this podcast, and I'm never going to forget that, and you guys are always going to stay as my friends. But unfortunately, it won't be on this channel. So, who knows what we could end up doing in the future. So until then, Ivan Giguk, and I'll see you guys next time, wherever or whenever that may be. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, so, yeah, I don't really know how to begin something like this because I've never had to do it before. I think the best way to go about it is to have this question in my head of what Potaku means to me. And there's no all-encapsulating way of answering this. We'd probably be here for hours. But I don't think I can deny that Potaku greatly contributed to what I am today in regards to what I'm doing on YouTube, what I'm doing creatively in general, especially as a film student, in regards to people that I've talked to both inside the group and outside the group, the community at large. It's definitely gotten me more involved with the people around me. It's definitely gotten me involved in my work a lot more so, especially being around so many talented people. It kind of puts me in the mindset of constantly making, which is something that I think now is a huge part of my creating philosophy. But now it's definitely time to move on. I don't think this is something that any of us should really dwell on. We all have things that we want to do. You know, we might not be together in a podcast anymore, but we're all looking to do really big things. We all want to do bigger and greater things. And I can't stress enough that I wish all of the best to everyone. That's how much these people mean to me, and that's how much these people helped me to become who I am, and it's been that much in my life. So, but yeah. That's it.
Hello, everyone. I don't want to start it off like that. I want to start it like in a good way, you know, in a bit more of an upbeat way, because I know the tone that everyone's gonna have is gonna be like, that we're kind of sad, because we are. We don't want this to end as we want this to keep going as much as all 59,000 of the people subscribed to this channel do, and I feel like it's a bit strange that everything's happening, because it's weird, because I got the notice that this was happening about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks to a month ago. I didn't know that we weren't going to be continuing this until right around where the Christmas break started. So, c'est la vie. So I'm just going to try again. Hello, everyone. This is Jimmy, host of Anime Editorial, the one guy who hates Kill la Kill, Reverend Jimmy, where there are boobs, there'll be no noobs, all that kind of stuff, all that good stuff. I may have said something that some of the people who subscribe to this channel don't like. I don't know. I may have been against their opinions. I may have been a polarizing figure in some respects. But it really is all love for everybody who has shown support for this channel. Because, especially someone in my position, because I started out just like everyone who watches this channel started out. I was a fan 1 year, and then the next year I was being asked to join. I went from watching Potaku every week to recording Potaku every 2 weeks in the span of a year, and it was an insane opportunity I was given, and I'm beyond grateful to Holden and to Gaunt for giving me this opportunity. I'm also grateful to all my fellow Jtaku members who were brought in with me, brought in alongside me. I'm also beyond grateful to everybody who stuck with the channel, even through the 8-month hiatus that we had last year. I'm grateful. I'm beyond thankful to everyone who's been a supportive member of the community, and I want to make it known that this is in no way my idea to end this channel. I'm sure I don't even have to iterate that, but I just want to make it known. It wasn't Gaunt's idea either. It wasn't Holden's idea. It wasn't anyone's idea except the person who is actually choosing to wrap everything up. And either way, based on what happens next, who knows? Because it really is a bit annoying, because if you think about it, we were primed to make a big comeback, and I don't know, maybe this might even get cut from the final version, but we're primed to make a big comeback. Gene was about to come back, and we were even in talks to do another Mentaku. So it's really confusing as to why we chose now to shut down the channel. But I've said this many times, shit rolls downhill, and I'm at the bottom of the hill. So I'm in no way someone in charge of the channel to be making the decisions as to whether to continue or to end it. So regardless of that, though, I am beyond grateful to everyone who's been a part of this channel, even from the first one, when it was just Holden, Gaunt, Tristan, and Gene, and they didn't even have a name, and it wasn't even hosted on YouTube. It was just some random link on Tristan's website, and it was just 4 people dicking around talking about anime, because it grew from 4 people to somewhere to over 8-10 people, and we all just had a blast. And it was a blast for me, and I can only hope it was half as fun, a quarter as fun for the people watching as it was for me making the video, me talking to everyone working on the channel. I'm sure it's very obvious that this isn't scripted, but I'd like to just make it known that I really do love everybody who's been a part of this, all the podcast members and all the fans. Sayonara minasan. Thanks for watching.
Hey guys, this is Connor from Fiction Reviews, and here we are, the end of the line, as it were. I really thought I was ready to make this video. I've had a lot of time to think about all of this, to talk to everyone, to be sad, to be angry, to be frustrated, and I thought I was ready to say goodbye, but as soon as I hit that record button, it's a lot of heaviness. We were always kind of concerned about the end of Pataku, how it was going to end, when it was going to end, even back in the early Jtaku days, because it's 10 people that all have their own personal lives, so whenever something big and major happened, it was always a question we had to have in the back of our minds, could this spell out the end of Pataku? So it's weird to think about it now actually ending. And to be frank, it really is probably for the best for now. This is really us just ripping off the proverbial band-aid and stopping while we're ahead. not having an ending in which we crash and burn to the ground, if that were to be something that happened. So I've had my time to be sad. And I decided that this isn't going to be a tearjerker on my part. This is going to be the time that I look back and think about all the happy times that I've had, all the great, wonderful things that have happened to me because of this podcast. Because I've said it 100 times, that I'll say it 1,000 times more. If you went back in time at any point before the night of September 13th, 2013, and you told me that I would be a part of this podcast filled with awesome, incredibly talented people whom I have never met before in my life, and as a result of this podcast, I would go to bumblefuck nowhere, New Jersey, and take my first trip to Canada for the sole purpose of meeting these awesome people in person. And on top of that, I would meet some other incredible, awesome people like Alex, John, Ebby, Cam. And on top of that, everything that I would see, so many things about my life, the way I think, my personality, my whole college career, the fact that I would look upon all of that in a positive light because of this podcast. If you told me all of that, I would have called you a damn dirty liar. And it's tough to see it go. Because I can't help but think of all those times back, coming home from class every night, playing Drunk Pictionary with Gene, playing CSGO with Garnt, Alan, Holden, Soon, and Ken, singing Bohemian Rhapsody with Tristan and Soon, and probably Ken, if I'm remembering that correctly. So, yeah, there were some tough times. There were some really, really bad, dark times. But goddamn it, if it wasn't worth it. We accomplished something. Even something as minuscule as becoming some of the best friends that I've had. We did great things. We did amazing things. And that's the way I'm always going to remember it. Because no matter what, through all the crap and through all the bullshit, the age of Potaku was an important part of my life. So with that in mind, I have to say thank you to the fans who stuck with us. But honestly, more importantly, thank you to all of my best friends. Thank you, Garnt. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Holden. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Suin. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Jimmy. So, that's it for me. For the last time on Potaku, this is Fiction Reviews, signing off. I'll see you guys when I see you.
I'm not exactly sure where to start. I'm sure everyone else didn't really know where to start either, but no place as good as the beginning, right? So in the beginning I was a fan just like all of you guys who are watching right now, and I was a fan of Potaku, and I thought they were the coolest people, and I wanted to do that. I wanted to talk about anime. I wanted to be able to express my opinions, because I had opinions, and I thought, how cool if I could talk about them as well. And I never thought that I would actually get to be a part of the podcast itself. I just wanted to do it because they inspired me, and these amazing, cool people were doing amazing, cool things, and I wanted some small part of that. And then, and I'm gonna get it up so I don't misread any of it, on September 13th, 2013, at 8:58 p.m., I received a message, and I freaked out because it said Gigguk has sent you a message, and that just blew my mind already. Hey there, you might know or not know us, but yeah, we do an anime podcast called Potaku, where basically a group of anime reviewers get on Skype and talk about random crap for about an hour while we happen to record it. Yes, I knew what Potaku was, and I was flipping out already by that paragraph alone. We're looking to bring more regular content to Potaku, which will require adding additional members. And by this point, I was hyperventilating, because I thought, oh no, they're not asking me. Oh god. What we are looking for, people who have strong opinions and are not afraid to voice them, while also being able to have fun in Skype discussions. Having seen some of your content, we think you could possibly be a good fit for us, but obviously we would want to get the chance to talk to you properly first before adding you. If you're interested, message me back with your Skype username. Thanks, Gigguk. And from then on has been, that's technically 3 years ago, 2016 now, so about 2-ish years of absolute fun and amazing times with people I am absolutely humbled and privileged to know. They have inspired me to do better, be better, and it just felt so amazing to be part of a community that I was included in. I felt so included and happy and blessed and just awestruck. Because 5 minutes after receiving that message, I messaged him back with my username, and then 5 more minutes after that, I was in a call. I was in a call with Tristan, Holden, and Garant. And it was something else. It was something else hearing them in person, and I'm so happy that I can call them my friends. That I can call everyone on Potaku my friend. And it has opened up so many doors for me. I have met so many more people, not just on Potaku, but outside of Potaku. And I felt like I touched people and I helped them be inspired in the same way that I was inspired. And that was kind of scary, but also really exciting at the same time. And it was just really... It was really sad to get a message that we could be ending. And as someone who was a fan, it really sucked because I felt like I didn't do enough. Maybe if I had done something else or if I had done X thing, then we wouldn't be here. But it wasn't my decision to make, and that's okay. I'm still sad and frustrated, and it hurts a lot, and it sucks. Fuck. But I can't dwell on those things. I have to move forward, and I think everyone here will move forward, and we're not gonna stop being friends because we have all become so close, and it's not gonna mean the end of us making things together. I'm sure that we'll meet at conventions and some of us will, do collabs and it's not gonna stop, but it's not gonna be a podcast. God damn it! I will always hold the memories that I made with these people very close to my heart, and I am just so grateful to you, all the fans out there, who made what we did seem important and worthwhile, because it was worthwhile to us, but the fact that it was worthwhile to other people is really amazing. Man, this is hard. And I'm just glad that we were able to put smiles on your faces, even a little bit, a chuckle here and there. It was so incredibly worth it, and I'm sad it's ending, because it happened so fast, and I just felt like I wish I could have done something. I wish I could have done something more, and maybe this wouldn't be happening, but it is. So, I love you all. I'm glad that you enjoyed me having fun with my friends, and I'm happy that I got to have fun with my friends for you and bring some of that to your guys' lives. So, this is goodbye.
Please ignore all of the bags and stuff and the disheveled look. I've been in the process of moving from house to house for the past 3 weeks now. I'm still in Japan, still doing all right, but I'm not here to talk about any of that right now. I'm here to talk about the ending of Podtaku. So to briefly summarize, Tristan contacted Garrett recently about him wanting the podcast to end. And Garrett tried to talk him out of this. But we were all very shocked by this, of course. But nothing would change his mind in this case. So what's just going to happen? And that's why you're watching this video right now. Is because, well, I guess it worked. So, what does this mean? Well, Podtaku's over. Kinda sucks. Just after we got things rolling again, this time we are stopping, and this time we're telling you why. That's the reason why. What I just said. So, Tristan wanted to end, and so we respected his decision. As a fellow founding member of Podtaku, who's been there since the beginning, we decided to respect it, I guess. But we'd never been in this position before because we never had someone tell us that they wanted it to end and that they weren't going to compromise on that. Because when Jean quit, who was also a founding member, she didn't want the podcast to end. She was like, in my absence, I hope it continues. So that's not the case with Tristan. He just wants it to end. And we'll respect it. And so that's why I'm watching this video now. Like I said already. But all of that aside, like all of it, I just wanted you guys to know that I disagree with this whole decision. Just me personally. Other members may agree, and they're free to. And I just don't. And I don't want to lie to you guys right now and say that I support this decision, because I don't. I really don't. But I do want to tell you guys this because I want to tell you guys because you're the reason this even continued at all. This wasn't just for us. I mean, it was in some ways because it was an excuse for us to talk with friends despite our busy lives that we've all had recently. But it was because you guys wanted to keep seeing it. And I've met so many amazing people. So many fans of Podtaku. You know, whenever someone comments on something that I do or something, they usually say, I'm a big fan of your work and Podtaku. It's never just holding reviews. It's the personality I am on the channel as well. I mean, like, you could probably attribute a huge portion, a huge percentage of all my growth in, like, channel viewership and all of the traffic to probably Podtaku. I mean, I think that a lot of us could say that. I think without Pataku, a lot of us would lose our relevance. I mean, fuck, dude. Like, we didn't have anything when we started. Me and Tristan had like fucking 10K. We were like tied. Gene had like 5K. Garnet was sitting on top with like 15. I mean, I think we all helped each other grow. Because Pataku is this way of siphoning energy and kind of redistributing it. So it was something to us, of course, but it was really for you guys. It was because you guys wanted to listen or were willing to listen. Because you guys wanted more podcasts. That's the whole reason we even came back. If no one wanted us, we would have just went away. Probably never came back. Kind of like what we're doing now that I think about it. The difference is this time, no matter how much you beg and plead, it simply won't happen. It simply won't. It's just not how it works this time. I'm really sorry. But this is it. This is the last time I'm ever going to be talking to you here on this channel. I know. Thank God, some of you are saying, right? Never have to hear me again. But for those of you who've liked this podcast, I do want to say something to you. I want to say thank you for making it all worth it. Even in this final moments that I'm sharing with you right now. I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for you guys. Thank you for everyone who's ever done a podcast with me. Everyone who's shared a moment, even just a moment, of joy and happiness with me. Because it's been fun. It really was. And this is probably the most difficult thing for me to do. It's just to let it go. It doesn't matter if I want to hang on or let it go. No matter what, the ship is sinking. It's just a matter if you wanted to stay on board or not. And I'll stay on board for now. I mean, it's not like it's going to be much longer anyway. The end of this video is really it. Granted, this isn't the last of you'll see of probably any of us. I think we're all going to keep doing our own thing. We're all taking YouTube in our own directions, as we always have, but now it's, I guess, more so. It's kind of how you would find us, but this isn't the last podcast you'll hear with me in it, for sure. I'm sure that me and other members will continue to be on podcasts, or just make a new one, kind of trying to, just for us to fill the hole, the massive hole that was ripped out of us by this kind of dissolution. So, keep your eyes open and know that even though this channel's not active, we're doing fine, and I really hope you guys are too. And so, for one last time, thank you everybody for listening. I'm Holden from Holden Reviews, and until next time, sayonara. See you later.
Hi. I've already kind of semi-rehearsed-ish what I'm hoping to say here right now, with the hopes that I don't end up being too emotional, because I figure some other people would have already done that for me by this point, so hopefully it's not compounding. Yeah, I guess we've reached the point where we get to answer the big question. The question of why. Because I have no doubt that everybody kind of threw that on me to explain. Kind of told them to. It makes the most amount of sense because I'm the one that kind of made the decision to do it. So, And while I initially meant for like everybody's little video to only be a couple of minutes long, so it wasn't this big, long, and involved thing. I have a feeling nobody's going to follow that anyway, so I won't either. Also, because in order to probably fully explain this, I'm not going to be able to keep it short. I'll end up cutting things out that would probably have to be explained later after the fact, and I don't really want to do that. It is much easier if I just kind of explain everything to the best of my ability, and hopefully you will understand by the end of it why this is here and why we are where we are. I'm not going to explain everything. I'll explain a lot of it because I think what I'm able to explain will hopefully give you the idea of why. But I can't explain all of it because it's not really my place, and I'm not that kind of person. So I think the best way to explain it, instead of like saying from the beginning or anything like that, because I don't think that would work for my explanation, would be to start kind of the beginnings of this video specifically, and if I need to explain any backstory on that, I'll go on that. So it started, or as far as anybody in the cast knew, it started very beginning of December, a couple of days in. I think it was like the 2nd or the 3rd or something. I wanted to talk to Garant, and I talked to Garant, and I basically explained to him how I felt that the podcast should end. And this wasn't a spur of the moment kind of thing. Like, I didn't just wake up one day and I'm just like, Ogie, I think today's a good day. Can't even fucking try to be. I tried to had a bit of humor joke that didn't work. I was like, I didn't just wake up thinking, okay, let's start over. I didn't just wake up thinking, oh, hey, today's a good day to end a podcast. I think I'm going to do that. No, this wasn't, I didn't suddenly decide this. This was something that's been gnawing at me for a very long time. Not necessarily like that I wanted to end the podcast. That was actually a more recent thing from when I talked to Garant, but it was more so this like unhappiness, this pit that I had in my chest about things I wasn't happy with, and I didn't really know how to fix it. And that's what I ended up coming up with, which was to it's probably just best just to end it. And I'm going to explain more of that, obviously. But I talked to Garant, and I was basically like, look, here's my general feeling. And Garant wasn't the first one I talked to, because I knew when I talked to Garant about it, that would kind of be like it. So I tried to get a general gist of other people's feelings, because you can look... I'm not the best kind of social person. If you know me in real life, you'll know that I'm not very good at the social. I can be as charismatic as I can try to be in front of a camera, but like I'm not really as social as I probably should be. I'm working to get better at that, but no, I'm not. So I talked to a couple of people, and I was like, here's how I'm reading the social situation of the group. Please prove me wrong, or give me another viewpoint. So I talked to a bunch of people to try and get a general feeling, and talked to a lot of the cast members. And then I went and I talked to Garant about it. And I was fairly harsh when I talked to Garant about it, mainly because I didn't really want to... Because I know how I am, and I know that a part of me really didn't want to do this, because I don't. But if I wasn't hard when I talked to Garant about it, then it wasn't... I probably would have chickened out, and I didn't really... And that wouldn't have been very great. So I was very hard with Garant, but I was hoping that he would have something. And he tried. I'm not going to say he didn't try, because he did. He tried really, really hard, guys. He tried so hard. Like, you need to give major props to him, because he did. We had a very long chat about it. About why he thought that the podcast shouldn't end. And he tried to give me reasons behind it. So, now we can get into a bit of backstory. So one of the main reasons I had as to why I wasn't feeling so great about the whole thing was because, and this goes back probably like a year and a half ago, maybe a little more than that, is there was always... Actually, no, it probably goes farther back. There's always been like this little thing in the podcast of where I was always hoping, or I had this hope that the podcast would always get better. It would get bigger. It would be watched more. We'd be able to do more, and that sort of thing. And I was always trying to push that as much as possible. It didn't always work, because that's what happens in collaborations. Like if you've ever been in a school project, for example, you know that just doesn't work. You can. There's only so much one person could do. Granted, it wasn't just one person, but you know what I mean. And I always tried to do that, and things always never really worked out. Like, a lot of the times it did, but sometimes it didn't. And you can, like, see proof to that yourselves just looking at, like, the video release schedule for, like, almost the last 2 years. you may notice it hasn't been very consistent, like ever. The most consistent it's been is in the last couple of months, and that's about it. Like prior to that, it was like almost nothing. We weren't doing too well up until the ASEN meetup, and then after the ASEN meetup, like most Podtakus just died. And J-Taku was a brilliant stroke of genius on Garant's part. And we worked at that, and we brought all these great people in. But the purpose of J-Taku was to try and counteract the fact that we as Podtaku wouldn't have been able to do as much as we wanted. So the goal was to bring more people in to hopefully to do stuff, and that worked for a while, but it eventually died down as Podtaku did. And I tried for a long time to try and do things, and it just didn't work out. And then a lot of other things happened, and then we ended up reaching the 8 months of nothing, which was many reasons occurred or attributed to that. But as far as no videos, one of the things was that I stepped back, and I wanted to see what would happen. And the general feeling I got when talking to Garant and talking to everybody was that nobody wanted the podcast to end. And I don't think I could point to anybody or talk to anybody on this cast and say that they wanted it to end. I didn't even want it to end. I don't want it to end, but we're doing it anyway. So, but that said, I never got the feeling of this spark, right? This drive, this adrenaline to actually get the podcast to move past where it is. Because we peaked a while back, and since that point, we've been going downhill. And I tried to slow us as much as we can, but I can only do so much. And Garant can only do so much as well. Like, he tried as well. But for whatever reason, and I don't really think I could point to any individual thing of why it never happened, but it just didn't. But I never got that feeling of spark, right? Because I know that nobody wanted it to end, but I didn't think that anybody was willing, or not anybody, but I didn't think enough people were willing to put in the effort to make it go to better than it was. And so I felt like at the rate we were going, people were just going to be doing things for the sake of doing it. Continuing Podtaku just for the sake of it, which in a lot of people's mind might have been fine. Like, I'm sure fans probably would have been totally fine with that. Oh, just the new Podtaku, who knows when, every once in a while. But when it comes out, yeah, great. And this kind of stagnant kind of thing. And some people were fine with that. I'm not. which is why we did this whole thing. So we talked to Garant. Explained it. I didn't like how that's kind of what happened. The social structure, if you want to call it that, within the group is very different from what it used to be. Like, everybody's friends for the most part. Like, people are more friends with each other than others. But I don't think, like, as a group, we've been like a really knit group for a while now, which would just eventually break down eventually. If it didn't do so now. So, talked to Garant, and after I was done talking to Garant, because I kind of blindsided him with it, he went and he talked to everybody, or most people. I'm pretty sure he talked to everybody, or at least that's what he told me. So he came back, and he talked, and I still didn't hear anything new. And then there was never a point where we actually had a group call about this. We should have. I tried, but like, the group call we had was just like me, Garnt, and Jimmy. Some other people couldn't make it, and I never heard anything from other people, so that just didn't happen. Yeah, I had a couple of options of what I could have done, at that point. And even before that, like before I talked to Garnt, even. But it was more insinuated by the time I got to Garnt, was I could have, first of all, done nothing. And drank to forget, probably. Hello, Night Vale. But no, I could have done nothing. What probably would have happened if I did nothing, and we just continued on. There may have been a peak, slightly, because the first time I actually heard about what I'm about to say was actually in that first call with Garnt. Apparently, like Gene, there was a possibility of Gene coming back, and Garnt was trying to, and well, not just Garnt, but like they were trying to organize another Mantaku, which I know a lot of people were looking forward to, and that sort of thing. And these were all reasons that Garnt like posted to me, and he's just like, here's reasons why things are on the up and up. And that might have been a slight bump, a nice little slight rise, a little bit of a yay. But then chances are right after that it would have fell again, because as much as another podcast with Gene and another Mantaku would have been great, it would have only been a one-off thing. And I feel like we would have just slipped right back into where we were. And we might not have. Like, you could argue and you could say all you want about the potentialities of the future and say that, oh yeah, no, that would have been like the comeback moment. But if there was going to be a comeback moment, it probably would have happened a couple of months ago, or it probably would have happened earlier last year instead of going on things for 8 months. And that was kind of my thought process on it. It was like, yes, if I did nothing, there might have been a spike. But based on everything that I've seen for the last 2 years, I didn't believe it. I still don't. So that was something. So it might have been a spike, and then it just would have died again. And I'm not happy with the dying down. Not happy at all. So the second thing I could have done, which would have been, I could have actively myself tried to push to make the channel, the podcast better. But as I mentioned before, at least I think I did, I tried that previously. I did my hardest. It wasn't just me. It was like a bunch of us. We tried so hard like a year and a half ago to try and do something, to try and get more content, to do more things, and nothing ever worked. So there was always this part of me that's just like, yeah, you could try, but there's this chance that like nothing will happen of it again, and then you're wasting all this time, and you're wasting all this work on something that probably won't even happen. Which leads into the third thing. The third thing I could have done, which is not something that anybody in the group actually confronted to me, though I have a feeling that they thought it, or at least some of them probably did, is that I could have walked away. There's, what's the word? Pretense. Not pretense. There's, what's that word in like law where something had been done before? Precedent. That's the word. There's a precedent for me walking away, in that Jean walked away when she didn't have time to do internet-related things anymore. Suan walked away for a variety of reasons that I'm pretty sure you could talk to her about. So then it's just like, oh, why didn't you walk away, Tristan? Like, you could have walked away, and then everybody could have been happy. And I'm like, no. No, everybody couldn't have been happy, because I definitely wouldn't have been happy with that. Because, like, I'm not sure how much you guys as viewers know about, like, the amount of work that happens behind the scenes. But I did, and have done, so much work for this channel. A single episode, like, just to make it, has multiple factors in it. You get everybody in, everybody records it, we all record our audio separately, that's cool. And then, that audio gets sent to who was ever editing the episode. And in the history of Podtaku, the majority of the time, that was me. Like, all of Podtaku's up until J-Taku. When J-Taku started, that was definitely all me, with the exception of maybe one where I just couldn't do it. But all that was me, and a large chunk of J-Taku's as well was edited by me. And if it wasn't edited by me, it was edited by Garn, who was nice enough to help me out with editing duties, because juggling all that editing plus trying to do my own thing for my own channel, it was just a lot of work. So Garn was nice enough to help me out. But a lot of the editing was done by me. Any of the visual stuff, like if you watch Podtaku in video format on YouTube, all the video stuff, as far as designing how the look of everything goes, like all the little lights, which I was very proud of when I did it, all that, like designing all that and making sure it all works, throwing that in the After Effects, getting After Effects to do all that, that was all me. And then it was just kind of a template from then on for anybody else to have anybody else from the cast to have done it. And then that one new format that we came up with, me and Suan sat down for like a good couple of weeks, and we pounded out this beautiful looking format that we used for approximately, what, 2-3 videos? That kind of seems like a waste now in retrospect, but we spent all that time and we did all that. And everything to deal with channel management was done by me. I got us into a network. I've been dealing with with everything. Did all that. I managed the Twitter account mostly. I didn't do Facebook because Facebook wasn't me. I don't do Facebook like at all. And I made sure all the MP3s were up on a web server so that they could be accessed by iTunes. Even though the iTunes feed, as anybody who actually uses the iTunes feed will attest, that I was horrible at updating that. Absolutely horrible. So I spent all this work and all this effort to make this podcast, and I wasn't willing to walk away from it. Like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be like that kind of person. You spend all this time working on this project that you love, because I started this. I was the one that sent out the message to everybody, and it wasn't originally going to be a podcast. It was just going to be some one-off thing to talk about seasonal anime, and then it ended up coming into this podcast. But I started this thing, and I worked so hard about it, and I wasn't comfortable with the idea of just walking away from that and leaving it for other people to do whatever they wanted with it. I wasn't comfortable with that lack of like control over it, if that's a thing. I wasn't comfortable with that at all. So I could have walked away, but I didn't. I wasn't willing to do that because, well, another reason for that is like if I walked away, it wouldn't be Potaku anymore. Because yeah, Gene probably would have come back, but I don't know how long that would have lasted. I would have walked away, so like what, Potaku would have been half of its original members, and even some people from J-Taku have left, and various other reasons, so it wouldn't have been the same. So I talked to Garnt, and I was like, look, at that point, you might as well just start a new podcast, because it's not Potaku. It wouldn't be. At that point, you would just be riding on the coattails of what was, and I wasn't comfortable with that at all. At all. I know there's more. Give me a minute. Pretty sure I've explained most everything. I don't know if that's enough to kind of give you a feeling of why I did what I did. And I figured two things. One, I figured that if anybody's going to end it, might as well be me, because I started it. So there's a nice little bit of closure there. And the other thing is that I figured that it would be better to end it on a somewhat neutral note. Like, when there hasn't been any shit or no continuing drama or anything like that, or even like a hiatus longer than what we've had. Like I wouldn't want it to be sitting there and you all been like wondering for like a couple of months, when's the next episode? And then we're just like, yeah, no, we're done. That was like, we finished that off months ago. And something like that. So a bit of a neutral note, I would have preferred to a negative note. Okay. So I haven't cried yet. So I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. So, hopefully you don't hate me too much. Some of you probably do, or at least disgruntled with me because I took away something that you might have enjoyed, but, you know, the way I look at it, it was kind of done for a while now anyway. It was kind of a husk of what it once was, and then it would never get to the heights that it was, and you can disagree with me on whether or not it should have ended, but, you know, I figured rather than have this pit rotting inside me, this regret of leaving it as things were, I figured, you know, let's just end it so that everybody can move on. And if that ends up being another podcast later on, sure. But at least there's some semblance of closure to Potaku so that everybody knows. Everybody knows we're done. Hopefully everybody's friendships will kind of endure. Like, I know that this probably wasn't a very liked move, even amongst the group in Potaku, but, you know, anybody is free to talk to me at any point. I'm totally fine with helping any of you guys out. Seriously, all of you. Every single one of you. I'm totally fine with helping you out, or I'll have a door open if you want to talk. Or something. Because I know I kind of dropped this on some of you, though. You probably should have seen it coming, to a point. It's just depressing that it kind of had to end this way, I guess. But, you know, again, neutral, so. And I've been rambling far too long. For all I know, this is probably the longest part of the entire video. I don't know how long anybody else is going to drag, so I might as well end it here, because I'm pretty sure I've explained my piece, or at least most of it, what I can explain. If this is your first video of Potaku, I feel so sorry for you. But also, I feel very jealous of you, because you get to go and you get to experience everything that we did. And if you remember anything about Potaku, I hope you remember the good times that we've had. The good times. The it's shit moments. The goddammit, Gene, why would you say things about school days moments? The times that we had that were fun. Were really fun. Rather than the more downer times, the more lackluster times. That sort of thing. So hopefully that's what you remember of Potaku, because that's what I hope I can remember about Potaku. Alright. So before I start crying and bawling uncontrollably, which I'm sure might happen to an extent after I turn off the camera, I'll see you all next time. So, ladies, gentlemen, and others, I have been Arcada, or Tristan, from Glass Reflection, singular. Goddammit, Garth, singular. And stay frosty, everybody.